Hello everyone, welcome to an analysis of dance, where we discuss the movements and debuts of the Billboard Hot Dance Charts in immaculate detail, with in-depth reviews of each debut each week. How ironic that on my third year of doing this series, we get one of the most dead and uninteresting weeks of my entire time doing this. Lovely. I mean, that's with the acknowledgement that next week is going to absolutely be busy as the charts devolve into absolute chaos with some big debuts at the top and a lot of really big singles on the horizon. But for now, we only have two more debuts, and unlike the last 2 weeks, these aren't as interesting. Charming. I mean, at least the quality is still there. I'll definitely take the quality over quantity approach that the charts have been going for the beginning of this year, but still, I'd like it to at least be a little bit more interesting, and hopefully next week proves that. And that starts with our top 10, where Houdini by Dua Lipa, whilst at number 1 this week, is gonna fall victim to Ariana Grande's new single. I mean, seriously, it's a house song. It's labeled as such in all platforms, and with the sound of it, yeah, this should absolutely be eligible to debut next week, and we'll have to discuss it more then. But hey, the radio and streaming are still strong with this song. It's going to stick around for a fair bit, as is Strangers by Kenya Grace at number 2. Now look, this one is definitely not as strong in that category, and streaming's starting to fall back a little bit, but it's still gaining considerable momentum. It's got a chance of sticking around, so this is fine by me. And on that note, Murder on the Dance Floor by Sophie Ellis-Bextor surged up at number 3. And look, this has got every single reason to stick around. It's got huge streaming, and with radio slowly getting back on board with this, it's going to be a potential hit on the actual Hot 100 finally, and that's great news to see. And even better, this might be the final week for I'm Good Blue by David Guetta and BB Rexa being knocked down to number 4. Now look, there is also the possibility of the Peso Pluma and Kali Uchis collab actually charting. I mean, it's got more of a synth-pop dance sound, so if it doesn't chart, I wouldn't actually be all that surprised. But still, it's got momentum across the board. It might actually happen. And with the song being well over 52 weeks, if it gets knocked down below number 5, it's going to finally be gone, and good riddance. That song stuck around way too long. And on the topic of good news, this will comfortably also bulldoze My House by Beyonce down from number 5. And look, with stream being the only thing supporting this, and that's going to lose momentum in the next few weeks, I'm not exactly complaining there. The song's trash. Sadly though, we saw Ecstasy by Suicidal Idol rebound up to number 6, although it isn't going to last as the stream continues to go away for this, and more so just because Prada by Cassie Ray and D-Block Europe fell down even harder at number 7. And look, I'm really surprised the song has stuck around as high and as long as it has. It might actually last past 26 weeks at this rate, and still, the fact that it is in the top 10 at this point is still good, so I can't really argue too much. But what's also in serious danger now is Rush by Troye Sivan at number 8. And look, the fact that it bypassed the 26-week rule is absolutely miraculous. I'm not exactly complaining about it there, but given how low it is in the top 10 and how easy it is to get knocked down by the several high debuts coming next week, I'm not exactly excited to see this one go, but hey, I'm not complaining. It had a really good run. Oh, and finally, Dream by Marshmello, Pink and Stings at number 9, as it's still got streaming and sales, but no radio to speak of. Let's pray this does not get higher. And even more exciting, we had another Saltburn related track charting in the top 10, Perfect X Eater by Mason and Princess Superstar. And look, I'm not complaining that this is getting momentum too. It felt like it was a bit underrated in comparison to Murder on the Dance Floor, so to see it actually hit the top 10 as well is really great. And I can only hope it goes up in the next few weeks. But what isn't going up are our falls and fall-offs, where there were actually still some pretty decently big ones. Outside of 2 comebacks last week that I didn't expect to stick around, the big one is Atmosphere by Fisher and Keith Alexander, which, given how consistently high it's been for the remainder of its run, it might actually make the year-end list again for 2024. Hey, I can't complain, it's a great song. But really, there was not much in the falls that was remotely surprising for me. Off the remix boost last week, Leave Me Alone by Fred Again and Baby Keem fell back down to 18. It's gonna absolutely stick around. And the collapsing radio just means that On My Love by Zari Larson and David Guetta was not gonna be able to hold on at all after last week, down to 37. It happens. More welcome though is the utter collapse of All My Fellas Pose for the Camera by Frisk down to 36. And look, it's a song that's considerably soured on me. It might end up being one of the worst hits of the year for me. It's that bad. And look, I can't complain about it going away, even if it has unfortunately made its year-end list for 2024. Just wonderful. But again, this is another week where the jumps and comebacks were surprisingly good. And no, not the single comeback with Fire by Alan Walker, Jake and Yuki at the very bottom of 50. And really, considering this is only here because of the new single, it's not going to stick around, thank Christ. No, I'm talking more about our jumps, with Ice Hall by Lumi Athena up to 36 being the worst of them, and that song still is pretty damn solid. Along with that, we got 42 by Diplo and Maren Morris rebounding hard up to 19 as they get some considerable streaming and radio momentum. Hey, I can't complain about it, it's growing on me a little bit. And most promising for me, Body Moving by Eliza Rose and Calvin Harris is up to 30. And look, it's got a long ways to to go in terms of becoming a hit. It's really getting up all these momentums because of the many remixes that have come out over the last few weeks. But hey, I can't really complain, especially with a lot of the remixes being great and the original song being the contender for one of the best hits of the year so far. Yeah, it's only gotten better the more I've heard it. I can't really argue about it getting some more momentum. But anyways, again, only 2 debuts this week, and they aren't anywhere near as interesting as the last few weeks, but still solid. Starting off with number 41, Who I Am by Alan Walker, Putri, Ariani, and Peder, Elias. The weird revival of Alan Walker this past year has honestly been really fascinating for me. He's gotten some consistent staying power, which he hasn't had for the last few years before this, so to see him actually get some consistent charting presence again is really great to see. Especially with the music itself actually being really damn solid. I mean, Better Off Alone Part 3 has only grown on me more and more as it's charted. I can't really complain about that song sticking around. It's genuinely great for me now. So now we get a loose single not attached to Walker World at all that's charting here now, featuring Indonesian singer Putri, Ariani, and Norwegian singer Peder, Elias, and on more of a world-leaning song that goes back to his Mumba and dancehall sound, which was a little bit concerning for me considering how mixed he's been in that genre. But honestly, I can't really complain about this charting because this is actually one of his best in that genre for me, and one that I genuinely really liked. I think Alan Walker's biggest factor in me enjoying his music comes with his focus more on atmosphere, especially recently where he's really ramped up the space in his mixes to give his songs a lot more bombast and room to breathe, and it sounds really damn nice here. The huge space of the mixes, the synths all float out with these really pretty percussion line that really does sound great next to everything else here. The reverb on the vocals that makes them feel quite natural alongside everything else, where both singers can really sell this. The intense bombast of the mix where the drops actually hit with a lot of power and genuinely sound really damn pretty. This entire song just feels huge and really anthemic for the sort of world music leaning influences that he's going for here. More surprisingly though, both Putri and Peder sound really damn nice here. They've got the sort of presence and personality where Peder is much more of a lower presence in comparison to Putri's much higher vocals that honestly balance out quite well with each other. So yeah, considering Alan Walker's dancehall has been really mixed at best, the fact that this actually turned out really damn good is really promising for me. It's a genuinely really great song, and if it manages to somehow stick around, which it won't, let's be real here, I wouldn't even be complaining that much. This is really damn good. Check it out if you haven't already. And finally, number 26, All My Life by Tiesto and Fast Boy.
I've been trying to find all my life, I've been looking for love, I'm still looking tonight.
Man, it feels like Fast Boy's really been due that big follow-up single after Bad Memories, so why not work with Tiesto here? Even though they've got a really credible run of songs afterwards that have genuinely done really well on Spotify, but not really anywhere else. Lovely. Shame too, as I've liked the majority of those collabs that I've heard, but hey, he's back with Tiesto here for more of a throwback sound to Tiesto's trance roots, and honestly, I wish I liked this way more. Sadly, it's not all that interesting either, just being more plain and forgettable more than anything. I mean, the production is quite nice with those subdued synths against a really nice percussion line that builds for some pretty damn pretty drops that actually sound really nice. But Fast Boy's vocals sound surprisingly disengaged and really do not fit the vibe at all. And with the mixing making them sound as canned and cheap as they are, especially with the auto-tune, yeah, there's something just isn't working for me here. It's really distracting too. These guys can usually bring some personality and genuine atmosphere to their songs, but here they just did not do it. I think the fact that they're working with Tiesto kind of made them coast a little bit, and that is really concerning for me. It's not bad, but I'm gonna forget this in record time, which for both Tiesto and especially Fast Boy recently, that is not a good sign. I would probably pass on this. And yeah, comfortably the worst of the week for me with Who I Am by Alan Walker, Peder, Elias, and Putri, Ariani as the best of the week. Look, that one genuinely surprised me. It's really damn solid. Next week is gonna be pure chaos though, as Ariana Grande and likely Kali Uchis will deliver some big impacts near the top, and with some other big debuts on the horizon, yeah, it's gonna be a mess. Stay tuned for that. But yeah, that's all for this episode of an analysis of dance. See you next time.